Welcome back to the Vendor Victory Challenge. We're off and running with round number 2 for the Vendor Victory Challenge. If you are here, if you can hear my voice, do me a favor and say something in the chat for me. I see Kathy Rickley. Hello, Miss Rickley. She is amazing. I'm so glad you came back for round 2 of this. This one's a little bit shorter than the last one. The last one was 5 days. This one's only going to be 3 days, but just as packed with information in it. And I see Allison. Hello, Allison. And I see Facebook user that said, hello, everyone. I'm not sure who that is. That means that you probably didn't click that link and go over and let StreamYard connect with your data. Danita is here. Awesome. Hello, Danita. I am so glad to see you here. I missed Danita on our networking call this morning. She's a busy lady, all kinds of stuff going on. Miss Kimya is here. She is hanging out in the studio with me. This is so cool. I love this StreamYard studio, right? It's kind of a whole cool idea with this thing. Anyway, I'm kind of a geek. I get it. Let's see who else is out there with us this morning. Today's broadcast is a bit unique. Okay, the last one, I did not do any broadcasts outside of the Facebook group. Today's broadcast and today's only is actually being broadcast inside the Facebook group, but also on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. So we're kind of giving everybody a little bit of exposure to the Vendor Victory Challenge. Oh, so Sherry made it. Awesome. Sherry, I see you here. Fantastic. Sherry's flying through the air, but she's able to connect with us while she's on an airplane. How cool is that? That's awesome. That's commitment. That's a willingness to learn. I got to figure out how to get this done. It's all that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's see here. I need to go find my notes here. Let me get to back over here to this screen so that I can make sure that we can go from where we are. So let's talk about what are our goals for this challenge. And so I'm going to bring this up. Hopefully we can see that on the screen. Now you can't because I haven't shared it with you yet. Let's do it this way. All right, our goals for this challenge. So let's look at, so hopefully you're going to learn something new. You're going to learn something that you may not have known. You know, we used to have a thing that we used to do when we would go to the martial arts tournaments back when I had the martial arts business. We used to say you had 4 objectives. Let's see if I can remember what all of them were. Number 1 was you had to learn something. So we wanted to make sure everybody went with the right attitude and just learn something. You had to meet someone. So you had to meet someone new. And we made sure that when somebody said they met someone new, we would ask them, great, what's that person's name? Because if they came back and they just told us they met somebody new, but they didn't tell us the name, they really didn't meet somebody new. And they had to do their best. So just work hard, do your best, and the outcome is the outcome. And then what was the last? I'm forgetting here. So learn something, do your best, meet someone new. Oh, have fun. You had to just have fun, right? So, and then the last thing I would ask them is, did you win something? So that the winning the trophy or something in a tournament, that was kind of the last thing on our list. We just wanted to go have fun. So learn something new, get some new tips to make your booth better. Hopefully you'll walk away with not only that, but walk away with a plan for your next booth. And then last but not last, but almost last, inspiration for this event was really inspired by Support Local, which is a big vendor show or a vendor opportunity that's going to be here in Las Vegas. So if you're here in Las Vegas and you would like to put this vendor stuff to work, go to supportlocalevent.com. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 booths left. They mentioned it in our meeting this morning that he says, yeah, I think there's 1 or 2 left. So maybe an opportunity still. You know, when I think about it, with these whole vendor events, it really comes down to two things. And those two things are going to be your in terms of connecting with people, it's going to be capturing leads. So if you get that part figured out in terms of the ideal people and all of that, and we're going to talk about that kind of stuff, I need to capture leads and I need to follow up until they buy or die. I need to keep following up with people. Okay. And so, hey, Lori is here. Look at that. Lori, how are you? I see WTF. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. Who is that? What is that? WTF and more by Borgwald. So, Lori, tell us what WTF stands for in your business, right? Not what it stands for, the general meaning that everybody knows, but in your business. Let's see. So what we're going to cover today are three things, really. We're going to talk about lead capture and nurture sequence. We're going to have a little demo on that, actually. And then we're going to talk about some lead magnets and then the key elements of an attractive booth and branding, accessibility, interactivity, some of that kind of stuff. And so day 2 and 3, we're going to actually cover engaging and engaging with attendees and marketing your presence at the event, and then building the lead capture and follow-up strategies. So we're going to have some fun over the week. So my story is basically this. I'm going to tell you the short version of it. Okay. I bought a martial arts business. So that was me prior to me buying this school. So I bought this school back in 2002, really had zero experience with running a martial arts business, had run some other businesses, but little experience with that. So bought this school, and from 2002 up until I sold it in 2016, we grew this business using mostly events. We used a lot of different marketing things, but events was really the big thing for us. And I went to people's events. So I had vendor booths at all of these events, but we also held in-house events as well. And so, in fact, I hosted 3 big tournaments during that time, which I had 600 people or so participating in that tournament. But we also had vendors at those tournaments as well. So I've been on both sides of the table, so to speak, in terms of having me being the vendor, but also being the host for those events as well. And so we were able to grow that martial arts business from 40 members, $8,000 a month, to 250 members and $50,000 months. And so vendor booths were a huge key for us and huge help in terms of our success. The other thing that I did with vendor booths is I worked for one of the large national remodeling companies, and we sold millions of dollars in windows and doors at these vendor events. We were at everything. If there was an event where there were families, there were people that were most likely homeowners, and especially those in areas where the homes were a little bit older, man, we were just at every single one of those things. So we sold tons of windows and doors at these vendor events. And so it absolutely works. So take out your cell phone, or if you are on your cell phone and you're not able to scan this QR code, then type in this URL, boothdemo.com. So scan that code or go to boothdemo.com. So here's what I want to do. I want to start this with a demonstration. So I want you to experience, if somebody walks up to your booth, this is the opportunity that you're giving them. You're going to give them a QR code that they can scan. And the reason I love QR codes, and we're going to talk a little bit more about QR codes in a second here. One of the reasons I love QR codes is that they don't have to come right up to your booth, or they don't have to write something on a piece of paper or any of that kind of stuff. They can stand back away from the booth, scan that QR code. But then I'm going to show you in terms of what we do with this QR code, how we then want to be able to draw people back to our booth. So hopefully by now, everybody has had a chance to either write down boothdemo.com and go to that, or scan this QR code. Okay. And so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see this a little easier. So this is the page that you should have arrived at. It just says, want to boost your sales from each local event. It's basically a demo page for me to use to show the system in terms of it working and so forth. So go ahead and fill out that form. And then it's going to, once you fill that form out, it's going to take you to a second page, which I'm going to show you in a second here. And then I want you to make sure you go down to the bottom on that second page and click the blue link down there before you leave that page. But before I leave this page, QR codes got, what did they get? They got real recognition. They really became useful and became something that everybody knew how to use during the pandemic. That's one of the great things that came out of the pandemic, is that now just about everybody's phone is equipped in order to use it and scan a QR code, and most people know how to use it for the most part. So that was a big thing for us. So now you can use those in terms of your marketing and whatnot. I'm going to warn you to be careful with the fancy QR codes, the ones that you put a logo right in the middle of it, or the QR code is the shape of something else. And the reason that you want to be careful with that is because sometimes they may not scan as well. Sometimes some people's phones won't scan that particular code. So if you're going to use fancy codes that are in different shapes or whatever, make sure you do a lot of testing with it to make sure that the thing really does work. The other thing is that this demo, we're just going to use the landing pages and an email for the follow-up. But you could use SMS messaging as well. And there's multiple ways to use SMS messaging. You could use a QR code that will open up an SMS message on someone's phone that really comes pre-populated, and they're able to then respond to you via text and tie into your system that way. Or you can use it whereas, just like this form that I have on this page, you fill out the form and then it not only goes to email, but it goes to an SMS system. SMS is getting more complicated, however, and that's because it's been abused too much. And so now lots of people are sending SMS messages, and they're sending messages unsolicited, which sometimes ticks your customer off. So be very careful if you're going to do SMS, because you want to make sure that you're not ticking people off. So let's see. Somebody said that they can't hear me. So that's a Facebook user. I don't know what that person's name is, but others chime in if you can hear me. Okay, make sure that sound and everything's working okay. All right, but so just be careful with the SMS when you're using that. Okay, Tori says she can hear me fine. All right, perfect. The email marketing, email marketing is going to work both as short-term, but also as long-term nurturing. So, all right, great. Allison can hear me. Monica can hear me. All right, fantastic. So good. Not sure what's happening with the other Facebook user. Maybe try logging out, coming back in, or rebooting. Rebooting is always the answer to everything, right? Just reboot. All right. So here's the second page. So once you filled out that form on the first page, it should have taken you over to the second page. Now, here's what I did. This is just simply a demo page here. This isn't necessarily real, but what I said here is congratulations. You're now entered to win. That's what you can put on your second page, is you can make sure that they know that they are now registered for your event. And this is great. Monica's last time Monica was on here, it did not show who she was, and she was showing up as Facebook user. Now we can see that it's Monica. Yay. Awesome. All right. Put your, you can tell them, congratulations, you're entered to win. And then use something clever like I did with this sign that says you may have already won. Be sure to come back to the booth. Bring them back to the booth. If there's something you can offer them to get them to come back to the booth, then do that. Maybe it's a buy one, get one. Maybe there's something free that you can give away. Maybe there's, just be creative. What is it that you could do that's going to make it worth their time for them to come back to your booth, or if they never left, for them to stay at your booth, either having the conversation with you or interacting with you somehow. And so you want to really get people to interact. If in fact you're at a big event, you may want to put something on there that identifies your booth that says, I'm at booth number 300. And this is, my company's name is the best company ever, but help them stay in touch, or help them come back. I started reading the very next thing, by staying in touch. So let's stay in touch. So this is a way to tie automated direct mail marketing to it. So if you clicked on that button and entered your mailing info for me, then you're going to then start to experience a mailing campaign that's actually going to now show this is another way for you to connect with people and stay in touch. So this is just a postcard campaign that has on the front of it, it's got quotes from Mark Twain. And so there's 12 of them. So literally over the next 12 months, anybody that filled out that form, you're going to start to get these these postcards from me. And on the back of these postcards will be more information about me. And so it'll just give you an opportunity to go look at that system and see if you like it. But it's an automated direct mail system, and it's really not all that expensive. We'll talk more about that, I think, on day 3 in this challenge. If all else fails and technology is not working for whatever reason, and it could be all kinds of things. It could be that you're up in the mountains and you have no internet access. It could be that for whatever reason, the internet access went down. You may have to resort to backup systems. It may have to be that you have the old school method. Those boxes are the exact boxes that I used to use with the martial arts business way back when. I'd have like 5 of them sitting on my table, and and we're going to talk about lead magnets later, where we give away so much stuff, but each one of those boxes was giving away a different thing. If nothing else, a fishbowl works. You can just have them put either their business card in, or go to the office supply store and get those little pads. They got little pads there where people can write their name, phone number, email address, whatever on those, and you can collect them that way. Now, I would do something like this before I would do the list that sits on the table on a clipboard so that everybody writes their stuff in and all that. And the reason I would do that is, sometimes there's just accidents happen, but sometimes some people are just unscrupulous and people will steal the list. People will, they'll literally, if it's just on the clipboard, they can just unclip it and walk away, or just walk away with the whole clipboard. But people also will walk up and set their drink on your clipboard. Their drink out in the hot sun, it's sweating. The outside of the cup is wet. And so therefore they set it on your clipboard. And if people were writing in ink their names and whatnot, it just got all smeared and you can't read it anymore. And then one of the worst things is you've got your clipboard there and people scribble and they write stuff in. You have no idea what they just wrote. So you really are not able to go back and connect with people. So I like individual slips of paper so that they're independent of each other. And if they're in a bowl or a box or something like that, then it's harder for people to walk away with it or anything like that. So tech failure sometimes happens, and you may need to go to go to other methods like we just talked about here. Okay. And then, of course, you manually need to follow up with people, and you need to enter them into a database so that you can then start to follow up electronically and all that. But it's more work if you collect the information manually. Then it's much more work, because now you still have to go back and put all of that into some system in order to do your follow-up. Just as a fun thing, a fun way to do prize drawings is use a wheel. Now, some people were asking before this event, well, are some of these principles good for online versus in person? I mean, things like this can work both ways. You can do a drawing in person, and you can have a big prize wheel in person. I used to have a big giant wheel, a big one. You can't see my arms because my arms go off the screen here, but it was big. And we used to have people come up and spin the wheel, and they would win prizes right then and there. But we also had the boxes so they could put their names in and win the big prizes later. And we didn't do this prize wheel thing, but this is such a great idea. And by the way, you can get this at wheelofnames.com. It's free. You can just download it, or not download it, but you just use it right on their website. But what's fun about this is you could do this live on social media. So if you did a live broadcast and you put all the participant's name on that wheel, now you can make it even more fun and get more engagement by doing it as a live event on social media. And so just make it fun, make a game out of it. Okay. All right, let's dive into lead magnets for a minute here. We're going to talk about lead magnets. And so the first question is, what is a lead magnet? While many of us know what that is, and we're very comfortable with lead magnets, sometimes some people are like, what's a lead magnet? They have no idea what this thing is. And so a lead magnet is very simply put, it's something that you offer of value that will entice people to give you their contact info. And that could be just a name and an email. It could be name, phone number, email. It could be full addresses, whatever. But that's what a lead magnet is in its simplest terms. Now, the key elements for a lead magnet, you also have this in the handout or the download that you got when you signed up. You have some of this information in there. But it solves a real problem. Sometimes people create lead magnets, and they will just take those lead magnets and they will just kind of throw anything together and then just put it out there. But you want to create a lead magnet that's going to solve a real problem. And so, hey, Kimya, do you want to come on and we chat while we kind of go back and forth on these while we do these, and then let you do your thing? Okay. All right. Let's do that. Let's bring Kimya into the picture. You there?
I'm here. Hello.
Awesome. Welcome. Kimya, you've probably seen this more than anybody else, but people putting lead magnets out there that really don't do anything, right?
Yes. Yes, they're creating lead magnets for the sake of having a lead magnet, and it serves no real purpose. It has no value. It shouldn't even be given away free.
Right. Right.
And it doesn't solve a real problem, like you said.
So what do you think in terms of how should people look at it in terms of creating this lead magnet? I don't know. Maybe that's a loaded question. Hold that thought. Okay. Because there's some other stuff here that I say loaded, but it's not all that loaded. But these are some of the things that you probably would even talk about in some of your thing, right? But that lead magnet solves a problem, but it provides immediate value, right? Because we want people to get a quick win out of it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Quick win. Exactly.
And then that lead magnet should demonstrate your expertise or value. Okay. One of the worst things that I see sometimes as far as a lead magnet is concerned is somebody puts a gift card, a $25, a $50 Target gift card or Home Depot gift card. Well, if your business is not tied to those businesses and somehow related to those businesses, that should not be your lead magnet.
No, it should not. And all it does is invite people who have zero interest in your business. They just want the gift card.
That's it.
You're not attracting your audience.
They just show up just for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and now put that nice basket over there, because it's like when you go to somebody's booth, if that's the kind of thing that you're offering at your booth and you have these physical products, right? Create a basket that's a killer basket that's got this great sampling of your products in it, so that now everybody is going, oh man, I want to win that. Mm-hmm. So they're putting their info into the however you have it set up, whether it's electronic or whether you have it set up in terms of a fishbowl or whatever, but you get people, you get interaction. I said be specific here, so that's kind of a very specific kind of a thing, but what are your thoughts on when you create this lead magnet, if in fact, sometimes like at that kind of an event, you can create a lead magnet that's too good? Because you get people then saying, well, I'm going to wait and see if I win.
Yes, exactly. And so you want it to be, you don't want it to be so good, like you said, people wait, but then you want it to be juicy enough, for product-based businesses with samplings, you want it to be juicy enough that it entices people to learn more about you. So ideally, you want to put samples of your best stuff. If you do a basket, and you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a basket, because I can see some people thinking, well, I don't want to give all that away. If you have a product-based business, figure out what you can sample. And it could be a sample of your best-selling product. It could be one sample. But if it's your best-selling product, then it's worth people sampling, because if it's best-selling, then it must be great. So it's going to naturally entice people to try it out and buy more. So don't go too overboard, because then, like you said, people will wait because they just want to win the basket.
Right. And if your business is not a business that's product based, it's maybe service, maybe then figure out a way to tie in. The martial arts business was a service business. And so I gave away 6 months of Taekwondo, of a Taekwondo membership. I gave away 3 months of kickboxing, 3 months of MMA, and 3 months of something else. And I'm totally drawing a blank on what that was right now, but I had 4 boxes on my table, right? And so people were like, holy crap, he's giving away 6 months of lessons, right? So that was depending on at what time you looked at my pricing, that was like a $1,500 value, right? So people were going, oh man, yeah, I'm in for that, right? And so we would literally get lots of entries because we made it really nice, right? If you're doing digital products, make sure that it's something that's easy to digest, something easy that they can understand and put to use right away, right? We want it to be high quality. And we already said this, aligned with your product or service, right? So what else? Are there any other magical tips that you have at this point that would make sense for people to keep in mind if they're thinking about lead magnets?
Definitely, whether you're a product or service-based business, make sure your lead magnet is not boring. I see people still offering simple ebooks. Nobody woke up today and decided they wanted to download your ebook. So when Stan said a quick win, make sure whatever your lead magnet is, make sure it's something that people can consume and have a result based on consumption. Because what you want the lead magnet to do is just a teaser. So you want that lead magnet to lead to a next step that you want the consumer to take. So for example, if you're a product-based business and you're offering samples, you want the next step to be the person buys a full size of what the sample is. If you're a service-based business, for example, and Stan said, okay, offering 3 months of a particular service, for example, you want the logical next step to be they consume that 3-month service and they loved it so much that they continue on. So make sure whatever your lead magnet is, make sure it is not boring It's in a fun format, again, because nobody woke up to download 100 ebooks. And make sure it has a logical next step after consuming the lead magnet. But something we alluded to earlier, I just want you to keep in mind, no matter what the lead magnet is, make sure that it actually has value. Now, this is easy to do when you have a product-based business. It's much harder to do when you have a service-based business. Oftentimes, service-based businesses will give you a coupon for 5% off. Waste of my time. 5% doesn't even cover taxes. So when you're giving like a coupon, make it worth something. 10%, not enough, not enticing. Give me 20, 25%. Give me a BOGO, something that makes it valuable. If you're a service-based business and you don't have coupons, make your lead magnet something that you would love to sell for $4.97. But you know what? I'm going to give this away for free so they can really see how good my stuff is. Because if I'm giving this away for free, what is she giving away paid? So think about the value of your lead magnet, whether you're a product or service-based business. Make sure that it actually has value and you're not just giving it away free for the sake of giving it away free. The lead magnet is there to attract potential customers. So what would attract you? Think about it in that regard.
I'm so glad you talked about the percentage off, because so often I see that, get 5% off, get 10% off. It's like, that typically just does not excite anybody, right?
No.
And it's like, even depending on what it is that you have, 20% off may not excite people, right? It
You're
just
right.
really depends on the product. I mean, you really need to think, what can I do that is significant, that's going to get them to play, that's going to get them to put their info in this box bin, scan this QR code, whatever the method is that you're using to capture. You got to really figure out, what can I do that will make it that truly will make it make more sense. Okay.
Yes. And a lot of people, they actually use a loss leader for that express purpose. So they will heavily, if they're really trying to build their list or do an aggressive sales campaign, they'll use a particular product and discount it heavily, and it'll be a loss leader, but with the intention that they know if somebody buys this, we know we hooked them. We hooked them with this. And so now they'll be a customer. So that's when you get into lifetime customer values and things like that. So don't be afraid to discount things to lose money on the front end, which a lot of businesses do, believe it or not, in order to keep that person in your pipeline as a customer for years to come.
So here's that's such a great concept right there. So this challenge is a loss leader kind of a lead magnet. It's because I'm giving away tons of training here in this, that I can't tell you how many people said to me, what? You're doing this for free? And the VIP is only $27? Are you kidding me? That's way too cheap. And you can argue one way or the other, whether it is or whether it isn't, but literally it's about, what can I do on the back end? How do I build my mailing list? How do I build my database in terms of being able to market to people long-term, right? And attracting the ideal customers, right? So really get creative with whatever it is that you're going to try and do with this lead magnet, because here's the critical thing. The lead magnet is the thing that's going to get them to your booth, is one of the things that will get them to your booth, or at least keep them at your booth and get them to give you their information. So, because if you never get them over to your booth, they're never going to scan the QR code. They're never going to put anything in the fishbowl, any of that. So the lead magnet is a critical component of making all of that happen. All right. So, all right. So let's go over here to this next thing. Your homework assignment today is going to be, and Kimya, I'm going to go ahead and put you back in the studio room. All right.
Okay.
And so your homework, brainstorm potential lead magnets for your booth. And guess what? This is a great use of the group. Hey, Yvonne is on here. Hello, Yvonne. How are you? That's awesome. I'm having fun watching all these new people come in that I haven't seen in a long time. But if you've come up with some ideas or you want some feedback on it, put it inside the group and ask the group for some feedback as to, do you think this would be a good lead magnet for you? Okay, so go play with that. That's your homework assignment. Let's go over here. We're gonna shift gears a little bit. We're gonna talk about the key elements of an attractive booth, and that includes things like branding, accessibility, interactivity, and so forth. So I'm going to cover a few things, and then we have another guest speaker that's going to come on and talk some more about the things that you can do at your booth, and he can help you get some of those things that you can do at your booth that will make your booth attractive. I said before, when Kimya was here on here, I said that one of the key elements for having people come over to your booth is going to be your lead magnet. Well, another key element is going to be the attractiveness of your booth. How does your booth look? Okay. And one of the pieces to think about with a booth is the location. Try to make sure that you get your booth in a location that's high traffic location. Now, if you have the choice to pick your location of your booth, then by all means do that and try and figure out what's the flow of the traffic so that you want to be in the place where you're going to get the most exposure. I've seen vendor opportunities at times where there's a big room where all the people are, and then they put vendors in other little side rooms, right? I always try to avoid those side rooms. I don't want to be back in one of those side rooms. I want to be somewhere out in the big room, or I want to be where the crowds are going to be congregating. So, and that's usually around food. So if you can somewhere be where the food is, you're then more likely going to be where the crowds are, right? Or entertainment. And so when I had the martial arts business, one of the things that we did was we would always look for where's there going to be other entertainment, or where are they going to have the food. And we wanted to be somewhere close so we could crank the music up, do demos, draw attention, and draw the crowds over to us. This last year when I did the Support Local event, I had my booth right in the beginning, right in the opening. And because it was crazy the way it was set up, you came in a narrow opening and then it opened up to all the other vendor booths. So because of that, I got to come in. People came in and they would see me when they came in. And then as they were leaving, they would see me again. So I lucked out with it to get that great location because I wasn't one of the first ones to buy a booth, but nobody else chose that. I was amazed by that. So another thing is visibility. Our guest is going to talk a little bit about visibility. You want to make sure that not only are that location is going to help with your visibility, but what's your signage? What does your booth look like? What are the kinds of things you can do at your booth that will make it great? And then your branding. This will be another one of those things that our guest will talk about. Think about accessibility. So for people that might be in wheelchairs, or maybe there's some handicap or something that prevents them from going upstairs or whatever, but think about the accessibility, right? And then how interactive are you at your booth, right? What kinds of things can you do that will bring people over and keep them there? Make sure it's neat and it's organized, and that your booth you're going to have great product displays and all of that. As we said the last one, that there is you have the ability to buy some things to help you display your products. You can go to Amazon and places like that where you can get some, but you can also, and I don't like that view. Let me try this view. There we go. But you can also talk to people like John. So this is John Rishka, everybody. And John owns, hopefully I get this right, John. Is it Valley Print Services, right?
Yes.
Okay. And John is going to talk a little bit about some of the kinds of things that he's seen at vendors and what works and things that don't work and so forth. All right, John, you ready to take it away?
Okay. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Very good. Okay, let's get started. First of all, I've worked at trade shows, manning booths, and also been to enough trade shows and seen enough booths over the years. So let me give you a couple tips. Generally, you go to a convention or a trade show of some sort, and they give you a little space. They give you a 6 foot table, a blue tablecloth, a couple chairs, and generally a black backdrop with a number on it, so you know what the booth number is. I have been recently to a trade show that some people, that was it. They just basically sat down and watched people go by without anyone having any kind of an idea what it was they were selling or reason why they were doing there. You can get tablecloths, you can get backdrops, we can do pull-up banners, you can do an entire photo wall or a step and repeat wall behind you. When someone walks by your booth, you've got about 5, maybe 10 seconds to capture their attention so they're drawn in to see your lead magnet. If you don't have a booth that's attractive enough to pull them in, there would be no lead magnet in the world that's going to be able to sell anything for you. You have to be attractive. The people that are manning the booth, number one, need to be knowledgeable in the products and able to negotiate and understand what the customer needs so that they can sell what it is that you're selling. Very important. They also need to look neat. They need to look professional. If you have polo shirts that you wear with embroidered company logos on it, excellent idea. Everybody looks the same. Everything is consistent. Super important. There's another thing too, is your logo and your color scheme or your branding that Stan had touched on a little bit earlier. Do you have a company logo? You want to make sure everything is consistent. Everything from the information that you're putting in your backdrop, in your pull-up banners. You can have a custom tablecloth designed with your logo on it. So everything, shirts, everything looks the same. It's consistent. It looks extremely professional. It doesn't look like some plumber that showed up and he's got an old dirty t-shirt on and he's going to work on your house. They're going to show up. They're going to have a uniform on. They're going to have a consistent look. It looks professional. It makes you feel good about interacting with them. Now, let me talk a little bit about designing your materials. Number one, you need vector art files. Now, what I mean by that is items that are designed in InDesign. When you're working at doing any type of literature or any kind of product stuff, signage and all that, that's going to be used on your booth. Extremely important, because when people design things to go on the internet, it's of a very high resolution because you don't want things to be so big it takes them a long time to download, even on a fast speed network. So you want things that are designed in Illustrator, vector files, or in InDesign. And what you can do is take something the size of a postage stamp and blow it up to a billboard size, and the resolution stays perfectly clear and wonderful. Okay, so that's extremely important. A lot of people will design stuff in Microsoft Publisher and Microsoft Word or even in Canva, and it works to a point, but you want to make sure, don't be afraid to spend an extra couple bucks to make sure all of your literature and your presentation stuff is professionally designed and looks professional, because your competitor is doing that. It's extremely important. Now, what type of items are you going to want to have for presentation? Okay, if you've got, I'm at a booth, I've got my business cards there so that when someone has interest in my product, I hand them my business card so they know to contact me personally. If I'm the only one working the booth, that's fine. If you have 2 or 3 different people working that same booth, make sure each one of them has a card with their particular information on it, even if it's cell number, email, whatever it might be. People relate to people. This is, especially if you are in a service business, you need to make sure that people feel comfortable with you. People do business with people. You're not selling something that someone can buy on Amazon. You're selling a service. You're selling a product to a person, and that's what you want to do. I remember a consultant a while back came up with a saying that I thought was phenomenal. He says, don't do printed matter, do print that matters. If you're going to do business cards, flyers, brochures, line cards, and my line cards is a list of products that your company sells. You want to make sure that these things are going to matter, that they're going to have concise information. that your website's listed on there, that your phone number or address is listed on there so people can read it. I've seen too many times where brochures or materials are done where the phone number is hidden and you have to go looking for it. Not a good thing. You really have to make sure that your contact information is large and readable. Now, giveaways. It's important too. You want to have something that person is going to take along with them to give them a reminder. Okay. Pens. This was an interesting one. I've had this for probably 20 years. This is a little tool. It's got a Phillips head and a standard flathead screwdriver. Imprinted on it says, if you can't fix it with this, give us a call. If you're in the business of if you're an electrician, if you're a plumber, if you're doing trade type work, what a phenomenal giveaway. I've used this for 20 years, still have it. Here's another kind of a fun thing, especially with football season coming up. Little footballs with your name on it. You can give those away at a booth. Highlighters as well. People use highlighters all the time with your name and phone number on it. Another extremely popular item is hand sanitizer. This was really popular at the last trade show that I went to recently. Also, there's another thing, a bag of goodies. They take a little canvas. I thought this was particularly ingenious, a little canvas bag with their logo on it. And inside was a little bit of Tylenol. They had some Alka-Seltzer. They had an emergency, one of those fizzy energy drinks, and several things like that, some mints, things like that, so that you might call it a recovery kit or a get well kit for someone that's sitting in an office. Post-it notes are also a really popular thing to give away. People use Post-it notes. Now, the different types of things, again, I'll reiterate, tablecloth, a nice tablecloth, also table runners. If you've already got a tablecloth, you can put an additional table runner that goes kind of like a banner over your tablecloth. Step and repeats or photo walls, pop-up banners. Easel signs are another thing. You might have an easel where we can just do foam core or coroplast signs that sit directly on the easel. You print them on two sides so that you can flip them, which makes your advertising double. You can advertise one thing in the morning, one thing in the afternoon, and see what may or may not work better. If you're running show specials, and this was touched on earlier, don't do any type of a show special or an offer that you're not going to buy yourself. It just, people, it doesn't work. I had a guy that ran a sandwich shop that I did a bunch of print for, a bunch of mailings for. His idea of a giveaway was, buy 3 of my sandwiches and I'll give you 10% off. Well, the sandwiches at $12 a piece, I'm spending $36 in order to get $3.60 off. It wasn't an offer at all. And I said, just don't do any offers because you're insulting people. They're going to think this is silly. Another tip you want to do too is if you are not using any kind of electronic device or social media or anything like that to capture information about your customers, you're going to use the old-fashioned fishbowl method. Put some candy in another fishbowl next to that fishbowl so it attracts attention. Put your card here, and oh, by the way, grab a little mini Snickers bar or grab a little Lifesavers mint or something like that. A little bit of an inexpensive enticement to get people to drop their business card in. Again, I can't reiterate enough. Do print that matters, not just printed matter, and make sure everything is concise, looks professional, can be designed, and it looks fantastic. You'll have great results.
That was fantastic, John. Now I want to highlight a couple of these things that he said here. One, I love this. Do print that matters. That's great. But that bowl with the candy, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna put candy there, put some good candy. Don't put some cheap candy, because the cheap candy doesn't really attract attention over to it either. Right.
Don't do anything that you wouldn't be attracted to yourself. If you like Snickers bars, if you like Crackle bars or Kit Kats or whatever, put those in there. If you like them, chances are someone else is going to like them too. But don't go to the 99-cent store and buy a bag of candy that's been sitting in there since last Halloween. It don't fly.
That's right. So, right.
Don't fly.
And so the thing that John hit on there is doing practical giveaways. That little tool that you have, that's fantastic. I love those kinds of things. And you talked about in our last challenge, you talked about those chip clips or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
right?
The chip clips, super popular.
Those things are amazing. I love those things. I look for those, right?
There's another thing, if I could throw this out to you.
Sure.
Conventions, if you're selling food, if you're selling food type products, if you're selling medical services, supplies, wheelchairs, things like that, get a refrigerator magnet. They're inexpensive. It's the size of a business card. And people like to stick notes on their refrigerator about their kid's report card or school or something like that. Plus, I got a favorite Mexican restaurant right down the street. I printed his magnets, and guess what's on my refrigerator? And right on there it says, "Don't cook tonight, call us." So when it comes time to make dinner and I don't feel like cooking tonight, bang, the advertisement's right there.
That's right. That's right. That is phenomenal. All right, guys, if you liked those nuggets that John threw out, make sure you put a 1 in the chat, and let's show John some love. Let's let him know we really appreciate it. So, John, thank you so much for making the time and coming back. John's info has been scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Kim, you put a lot of 1s in there. Look at that.
Thank you, Kim, yeah.
She got a lot of value out of that. But
appreciate it.
And
Give
Kim,
me a call. I can help you get all these, and I ship everywhere in the United States.
There you go. So if you need help getting those items, make sure you call John and let him help you out with those things. Okay. So thank you so much, John. I appreciate it. I will talk with you soon. All right.
Thanks, Stan. You guys take care. Great tips here, guys.
All right. All right, guys. And so we're going to wrap up, and we're going to talk about your target audience. Now, when I gave you that download, that the 60-day checklist, inside there were a number of other things. And one of the things that's in there is really figuring out your target audience. And so you want to know who your ideal customer is. You really want to zero in on being at an event where your ideal customer is. I mean, in the beginning, I talked about capturing leads being that critical thing. Well, you want to make sure that you're at an event that has your ideal customer, your target market, and those are the leads that you want to capture. Those are the ones that you want to follow up with until they either buy or die, right? So those are the ones you want to make sure you're capturing those. So go back through that document that I gave you and go through the exercise of figuring out who is your ideal customer. And there's 4 basic questions that you really want to zero in on. Who are they? Where do you find them? And so where do you find them is going to come down to, are they at this kind of an event that you're at, or are they online? Where are they? Because you need to go where your customers are. Okay. So you need to figure that piece out. What can you use as bait to attract them? That's the lead magnets that we were just talking about. What can I use as bait that they're going to say, oh man, this is so much value. I really need to, I need to do this. I need to get this thing. I need to sign up for this thing, whatever it is. And then what's the result that you want to give them by them using your service? And so the things that are going to go into that are going to be the demographics, such as their age, their location, things like, do they have kids or not? Do they, do they attend a certain kind of a church or other factors like that? So you want demographics. The other piece is going to be psychographics, and meaning, what are their interests? What are the kinds of things that attract them? Are they wine drinkers? Are they people that are party goers? Are they people that are homeowners? Are they people that spend money on certain things? But you want to really zero in on those kinds of factors, right? And then what's the relationship with your product or service? Meaning that, are these the kind of people that they use your products or your kind of services on a regular basis, right? You want people that love the kind of things that you do, that you're making available, right? And then what's their purchasing behavior? And so are they people that are going to purchase these kinds of things on a regular basis? Are they, once a year purchasers? But all of that comes down to what it is that you're offering, and then figuring out communication with them. How can I communicate with them? So if these are people that purchase on a frequent basis, then I should be communicating on a much more frequent basis and staying in touch with these people. So you have a lot of things to figure out. When I had the martial arts business, my avatar was a mom that had kids between the ages of 3 and 12 years old, and they lived within a 3-mile radius of my school, and they had a family income of about $75,000 or more per year, and mom was dealing with something like focus, confidence, or discipline. So if I knew that meant my messaging could become way more clear. My activities and the events that I would go to all became much more clear. My communication with my target audience became way more clear when I got a much better picture of who it was that I was really trying to connect with. So your other homework assignment is going to really get clarity around who is your ideal customer, and go back to that document that you downloaded to get that. And inside of the Facebook group, under the files section, there is a ideal customer worksheet that's in there. So go grab that. That will help you with figuring out who is your ideal customer, because you want to make sure that the events you go to are the events where your ideal customer is going to be there. And you want to make sure that you get your messaging and your marketing right for your ideal customer. So that's pretty good. That's it for today. So we're gonna end very soon here, and then we're gonna go into our VIP session. So for those of you that are signed up for VIP, you would have received the link for the VIP. What is it? This VIP Zoom call and all of that. That would have been in your email. And I should have created a link for VIP that would take people to the VIP in case they had not signed up, but they felt like, oh my gosh, I got so much value out of this. I want to sign up for VIP. So give me a second here. I'm going to go find it. And let's see here. Vendor Victory Challenge, Vendor VICTRY. Of course, it doesn't come up when I want to look for it really fast, right? But I should be able to find this. Let's see. And if this is correct, yep, this is correct. And I will put this in a quick banner right here and just show you what it is. And then maybe Kimya, you can, if you would, just copy it and put it in the chat, maybe for people if they haven't signed up for VIP. It's not too late. It's still 27 right now, but after today, it is actually going to go up, and it's going to go up to 47. The people that are watching on either LinkedIn or on YouTube, if you have an interest in the, I'm still showing John Rishka. Okay, that was supposed to show the Vendor Victory Challenge link. How's that? There it is. vendorvictorychallenge.com/thank_you. But if you are watching on LinkedIn or on YouTube and you would like to take part in the next 2 days of this challenge, you go to vendorvictorychallenge.com, and I might have spelled victory wrong. Maybe there's a capital I there or an L. I don't know. vendorvictorychallenge.com is what it is. And so if you feel like you got some value out of today's conversation, then put a 1 in the chat. So let us know. How did we do? Did you get some good info out of it? Okay. And for VIPs, we're going to see you over at the in the VIP call And I already talked about that. And there's the link. See, if I had just gone to the slide, like I had it up on the slide, you would have seen it, right? So one of the things included in the VIP is a 30-minute one-to-one session. So if you really want to ask some questions one-to-one specifically about your booth, then that would be great. You could do that. So thanks, guys. I see lots of ones that are showing up there. Good. Love it. Kathy wrote 1, big 1. There you go. Right. You get lifetime access to the replays. And the regular replays, it says, comes down next Tuesday. So they're going to stay up for about a week from today. So you'll have the rest of this week, the weekend, and up to until Tuesday to watch the regular replays. But if you want to make sure you can get the replays, if in fact, the next bullet point talks about this, if you are going to use vendor booths as a long-term marketing strategy, not just a flash in the pan one-time thing, if you're going to use it as a long-term strategy, then you really want to be able to go back and watch those again and again and take notes and keep working through the exercises. The only way that you really get good at those vendor booths is by doing them over and over and over again. Like I said, I had that martial arts school for 15 years. We did vendor booths for 15 years. That's how we got good at them. and every year we get better at them. So they would tend to grow and have more and more success. And I think that is it. Yeah, because now my slide wants to go to day 2. So, all right. Once again, that is it for today. I will see you guys tomorrow, and VIPs, I will see you over in the VIP room in just a few minutes. Okay, take care.